AIO my girlfriend left me over a cheese wheel. Posted on r/am I overreacting. I, 27M, and my girlfriend, 26F, were saving for a house down payment. I work, and she is unemployed. I have saved 32,000 and she has saved 4,000, so I feel like I bear the brunt of the financial decision making here. I was doing the Oxford County Cheese Trail, and found a vault release. They were selling a 140-pound wheel of 21-year-old cheddar. It was aged using a traditional cloth-bound method that's practically extinct here in Canada, and with over 21 years it is extremely concentrated. 21-year-old cheddar often sells for $120 a pound. The farm was selling the entire wheel for $18,500. If I cut it into 200G wedges and sell it at $60 each, I can make $38,000. I bought the cheese wheel, and brought it home in my truck. When I rolled it into our apartment, at first she was excited. When I started to explain the financials and investment potential, she turned sour. She didn't yell, but expressed she wasn't happy about how I spent my share of our house savings. She is now staying with her parents. I think she's overreacting because she doesn't understand the Canadian housing market. Our savings is not enough for a down payment without a ridiculous mortgage, and we need to take these opportunities. AIO. Or am I the only one with ambition in our relationship? Relevant comments. Commenter. Start slicing and selling and then come update us LMAO. Commenter in response. I'd be surprised if he actually sold it. The fact that he thinks he can find 300 plus people willing to pay $60 for 200G of cheese in this economy is insane LOL. And even then the math doesn't add up LOL. Commenter. Bro, this sounds like something Michael Scott would do. Commenter. I'm not gonna buy a wedge of cheese from some rando selling it on FB Marketplace. Commenter. Info: how many people do you know who will pay $120 for a pound of cheese? Do you know how to safely store it until sold? Do you know the health laws for selling cheese? Do you know the tax laws for this business you are starting? GF is probably tired of your harebrained schemes. Commenter. She didn't leave you over cheese. She left because you're stupid.
Wired Abyss here. I just can't believe he spent $18,000 on cheese. He has to have done some research, right? Right? Did he do it like this is all so insane. Not only that, he's saying that doing a down payment, $36,000, isn't enough without having a huge mortgage. I don't know what the Canadian housing market is like, but that seems like you'd be able to do an okay down payment. But I don't know. Maybe the Canadian housing market is really bad right now.
Update: my girlfriend left me over the 21-year-old cheese wheel. Now my landlord is trying to evict me for commercial activity. AIO. Posted 6 days later. Photos and comments. As I can't add to the post, I have taken some of your feedback into consideration from my last post. For those curious, my girlfriend is no longer in the picture. She cracked due to low risk tolerance, so I've decided to go all in on the business. I initially tried to return the wheel to the distributor to recoup some capital, thinking they'd have some pity. They were actually considering it until they came out to look at it in my truck. Apparently, the minor heat damage I caused to the paraffin wax while trying to open last week compromised the wheel, which was already non-refundable in the first place. Since I'm now stuck with a 140 pounds, 30,000 plus asset, I had to pivot to asset protection and keep what I still have. I went out and bought a true TBB 2 HC 59-inch solid door back bar cooler, a professional digital temperature humidity controller, an industrial humidifier, a vacuum sealer, and ripening mats. Total cost was about $8.5K after taxes. Expensive, yes, but I wasn't going to let a $30,000 plus investment depreciate value. The delivery was difficult. My apartment door is narrow, so I had to take the door entirely off the hinges and shimmy the cooler into the living room. I had maybe a millimeter of clearance between the frame and the unit. I was exhausted and excited, so I started researching installation on my phone before putting my front door back on. That's when my landlord walked in. Apparently he believes my door being off the hinges somehow removes my reasonable right to privacy. We already have a strained relationship because of my own use of the unit. He still holds a grudge because I was doing some light metal fabrication with a consumer plasma cutter in my kitchen a few months ago. He saw the cooler, the vacuum sealer, and the wheel of heritage cheese and started crying about commercial operations and fire hazards. I told him very clearly, the cheese is for personal consumption. There is nothing in my lease that limits how much dairy a tenant can own. The next morning, I found an eviction notice in my mailbox. It's riddled with spelling errors as if written in a haste. I'm already preparing my defense for the landlord-tenant board. AIO. I'm being evicted over dietary preferences as far as the landlord is concerned, and I feel like this is an unlawful action. Added A+ to the valuation, as it is possible to increase my margins depending on the quantities I sell in. Also, please bear in my mind that I have sold 0 cheese, so I feel like this is premature action. Thank you. Relevant comments. Commenter. Even if this is a fake story, I'm loving all of it. Commenter. You and the guy that imported bees to Uruguay should start a business together. Commenter. She cracked due to low risk tolerance, my dude, she's the only one in this relationship who has any sense. OP added photos for proof.
Wired Abyss here. Honestly, if it wasn't for the photos, I'd say this story is fake, but maybe there are truly people out there that are this dumb. I I can't believe this though. So he damaged the seal on the outside, so a distributor that was looking to buy it off of him were no longer interested. So he got a he got a huge fridge for it because this giant 140-pound wheel of cheese needed a special fridge. Oh my god. Everything about this is insane. Everything about this is insane. And he doesn't see the problem with it at all. Do you like how he casually mentioned he was using a plasma cutter in the kitchen one day? And acts like it was no big deal? Yeah, just a normal thing to use in a kitchen. I think this guy's a grade A moron. I don't think there's any other way to put it, unfortunately.